Thank you. Roll call, Mrs. Kirby.
Councilwoman McVeigh.
Here.
Councilwoman Horton.
Here.
Councilman Tinsley.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Crawford.
Here.
And Mayor DeGarris.
Here.
You have four.
Thank you. Disclosure of interest. Any member of the city council may disclose any possible conflict of interest dealing with either any item on the printed agenda or with any matter discussed at the previous meeting. Seeing none, citizens input. Each person in the audience may take this opportunity to address the city council on any matter which is not on the printed agenda. Under consent agenda, the items on the consent agenda are approved by a single action of the city council. Any council member would like to have an item removed from the consent agenda and considered separately, he or she may request to do so.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion second to approve the consent agenda is provided. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have the action required items. Bill number 7963. City council will take action on an ordinance approving a conditional use permit to operate a daycare facility for up to 10 children in a single-family residence for property at 202 East Henry Street.
Move for first reading of 7963, caption only.
Second.
Motion second for first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson?
An ordinance granting a conditional use permit to Rhonda Moss for the operation of a daycare center at 202 East Henry Street in the city of Poplar Bluff, Missouri.
Move for second reading of bill number 7963 in caption only.
Second.
Motion second for second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson?
An ordinance granting a conditional use permit to Rhonda Moss for the operation of a daycare center at 202 East Henry Street in Poplar Bluff, Missouri.
Move for adoption of 7963.
Second.
Motion second for adoption. Any questions or comments? Roll call, Mrs. Kirby.
Councilwoman McVeigh.
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton. Yes. Councilman Tinsley.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crawford.
Yes.
And Mayor DeGarris.
Yes.
We have 6 yes votes.
Thank you. Bill number 7963 passes. Bill number 7964, the city council will take action on an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the sales contract between the city of Poplar Bluff and First Missouri State Bank.
Move for first reading of 7964 under caption only.
Second.
Motion second for first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson?
An ordinance authorizing an amendment to a real estate purchase agreement between the city of Poplar Bluff and First Missouri State Bank.
Move for second reading in caption only.
Second.
Motion second for the second reading of bill number 7964. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson?
An ordinance authorizing an amendment to a real estate purchase agreement between the city of Poplar Bluff and First Missouri State Bank.
Move for adoption of bill number 7964.
Second.
Motion second for adoption. Any questions or comments? Roll call, Mrs. Kirby.
Councilwoman Horton.
Yes.
Councilman Tinsley.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilwoman McVeigh.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crawford.
Yes.
And Mayor DeGarris.
Yes.
We have 6 yes votes.
Thank you. Bill number 7964 is adopted. Bill number 7965, the city council will take action on an ordinance destroying antiquated record from the planning department.
Move for first reading 7965 in caption only.
Second.
Motion second for first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson?
An ordinance authorizing the destruction of antiquated records by the planning department of the city of Poplar Bluff.
Move for second reading of 7965 in caption only.
Second.
Motion second for the second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson?
An ordinance authorizing the destruction of antiquated records by the planning department of the city of Poplar Bluff.
Move to adopt 7965.
Second.
Motion second to adopt. Any questions or comments? Roll call, Mrs. Kirby.
Councilman Tinsley.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilwoman McVeigh.
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crawford.
Yes.
And Mayor DeGarris.
Yes.
We Six yes
Thank you.
votes.
Bill number 7965 passes. Bill number 7966, the city council will take action on an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for professional services between the city of Poplar Bluff and Ozark Foothills Regional Planning Commission for the administration of the MoDOT Transportation Alternative Program, TAP grant application for the Pipe Creek Bridge and sidewalk extension along PP Highway.
Move for first reading of bill number 7966 by caption only.
Second.
Motion second for first reading, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Poplar Bluff, Missouri to execute a contract for professional services between the city of Poplar Bluff and Ozark Foothills Regional Planning Commission for the administration of the MoDOT Transportation Alternative Program grant application for the Pipe Creek Bridge and sidewalk extension along PP Highway.
Move for second reading of 7966 and caption only.
Second.
Motion second reading, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Poplar Bluff, Missouri to execute a contract for professional services between the city of Poplar Bluff and Ozark Foothills Regional Planning Commission for the administration of the MoDOT Transportation Alternative Program grant application for the Pipe Creek Bridge and sidewalk extension along PP Highway.
Move to adopt 7966.
Second.
Motion second to adopt. Any questions or comments? Roll call, Mrs. Kirby.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McVeigh,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton,
Yes.
Councilman Tinsley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crocker,
Yes.
and Mayor DeGarris.
Yes.
With 6 yes votes.
Thank you. Bill number 7966 passes. Bill number 7967, the city council will take action on an ordinance repealing section 210 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Offenses and adopting and enacting a new section 210 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Offenses.
Move for first reading of 7967 and caption only.
Motion second for first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson.
An ordinance adopting and enacting a new chapter 210, offenses of the Code of City Ordinances of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and providing for the repeal of existing Code Chapter 210, and providing when this ordinance shall become effective.
Move for second reading of bill number 7967 by caption only.
Second.
Motion second for second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson.
An ordinance adopting and enacting a new chapter 210, offenses of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Poplar Bluff, Butler County, Missouri, and providing for the repeal of existing Code Chapter 210, and providing when this ordinance shall become effective.
Move to adopt 7967.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions or comments? Roll call, Mrs. Kirby.
Councilwoman McVeigh.
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton.
Yes.
Councilman Tinsley,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crocker.
Yes.
And Mayor DeGarris.
Yes.
With 6 yes votes.
Thank you. Bill number 7967 passes. Bill number 7968, the city council will take action on an ordinance accepting a bid for the McLean Trail project.
Move for first reading of 7968 and caption only.
Second.
Motion second, first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson.
An ordinance accepting a bid from Frontabarger Concreters, Inc. for the construction of the McLean Walking Trail project.
Move for second reading of 7968.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson.
An ordinance accepting a bid from Frontabarger Concreters, Inc. for the construction of the McLean Walking Trail project.
Move for adoption of 7968.
Second.
Motion second to adopt. Any questions or comments? Roll call, Mrs. Kirby.
Councilwoman Horton,
Yes.
Councilman Tinsley,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McVeigh.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crocker.
Yes.
And Mayor DeGarris.
Yes.
With 6 yes votes.
Thank you. Bill number 7968 passes. Bill number 7969, the city council will take action on an ordinance adopting the 2017 budget for the city of Poplar Bluff and municipal utilities.
Move for reading of first reading for 7969 as a caption only.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson?
An ordinance of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, approving the budget for the City of Poplar Bluff and municipal utilities for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2017 and ending December 31st, 2017.
Move for second reading of bill number 7969 by caption only.
Second.
Motion second for second reading, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Richardson?
An ordinance of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, approving the budget for the City of Poplar Bluff and municipal utilities for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2017 and ending December 31st, 2017.
Move to adopt 7969.
Second.
Motion second to adopt bill number 7969.
Before we vote on that, I'd like for the city manager to explain a couple of changes he made in the budget so that people would understand it.
The budget you were presented the last workshop meeting had a deficit of $173,761. There was actually a formula coding error in the budget, $33,000, which actually put the deficit at $207,000. The budget you have in front of you tonight has a deficit of $237,758. That also includes $99,000 in lease payments for the building City Hall's in and the building the police department's in, and the lease to the college for the 911 center. In addition, in this budget I presented to you tonight, we added dental insurance back in for the city to pay the employees' portion. 3 years ago, up until last year, the city paid 100% of the employee and 2/3 of the dependent. This current budget we're in for 2016, they paid 100% of the employee and half of the dependents. And in the 2017 budget, we budgeted for 100% of the employee, and the employees will pay 100% for their dependent coverage. Budget also has the equivalent of one starting salary and benefits for a police officer put back in it. And as I said, that leaves us with a $237,000 deficit budget. We made a few adjustments on some revenues, and a couple of adjustments in the expense items in the police department. And if you have any other questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
I'd like to also make a comment that I think Mr. Massingham, a lot of people probably doesn't realize this, but when he first gets the budget, I know he's already cut probably over $500,000 out of it before he ever even sent us the first draft of it. That's hard to do when we're running everything and doing the best possible work we can do for our citizens. Other comments? Roll call, Mrs. Kirby.
I was gonna ask, I thought he was gonna ask a question.
Pardon me?
I thought you were gonna ask a question, I was just
No.
waiting. So when you said the equivalent of a starting salary police officer, are you talking about actually laying off someone?
Actually, right now, we've got an opening because one of our officers has gone on leave for military duty.
Mhm.
So we haven't filled that position, so if we don't fill that right now, there wouldn't be anybody actually lose their job. Now that person will be back in, I think August or September. At that point, I guess we'll have to reevaluate what we want to do then, or we
Okay.
won't wait to the last minute. But
Well, with the headlines, we've gotten a lot of phone calls, and I just wanna be clear, because I can't support us laying off any city employees if we can cut expenses somewhere else. I mean, we either have to have more income or less expenses. And to me, our employees are our most valuable assets, next to, of course, the citizens, but we should try to find a way that we can cut something besides an employee. And I just wanna be clear that this council is not, or I am not supporting, cutting an employee. And sometimes it gets misunderstood, and I just wanna make sure that we're clear that by passing this, that we're not cutting any employees,
But we are cutting one employee in the municipal court.
okay?
Street department actually has 2 openings, so we won't fill those. Planning department has an opening, we won't fill that right now. But the one in court, if this budget's approved, it doesn't have that position in there. We have budgeted some money for part-time for that department to help during court days. Whether we can find anybody to work those few hours, I'm not sure.
So we've actually laid someone off in the court.
Yes.
And that's already happened in 16, and so it's just not gonna be in 17's budget.
Well, I mean, they're still working here right now.
They're still here
but
now, okay.
yes.
I just wanna be clear, because,
But they won't have a full-time job then.
Correct.
and there's not any other expenses to cut that employee, because it's very expensive to hire and train someone and then find you're short and have to hire. I noticed this month that we spent over $15,000 at the Coliseum on temporary employees, and that's a lot of money. I mean, you can put on an employee for what you're paying for temporary, so I just, not micromanaging, but just things that pop out at me that I have questions on.
I mean, I feel like on the organizational part, we've got it down to bare bones, so.
I think you do pretty much, but I mean, just trying to see where else we, it's just the feedback from the public is they want, with the police, we support the blue. We want more boots on the street, less administration is what the public is saying. The council, and I guess we're in agreement, we're not supporting cutting police officers by any means. That was never our intent. It just got blown up because of the headlines, of course. And, good.
I just says that we're not in favor of cutting any employees, but we also know we have to have a balanced budget.
We have to have a balanced budget. And so I just wanna make sure that we're clear and it's not misunderstood by the public, that, of where we're standing on it.
And with those cuts, I mean, this balance, as you know, is still not balanced.
Right,
The budget's
that's
not
what I want.
balanced.
So then, do we need to find those cuts yet tonight before we pass it?
I don't know where else we cut other than employees and salary. I mean, benefits, that's 80% of our budget, so.
But we do have the reserve that balances out the budget from a legal standpoint, is that correct?
Yes, I mean, we've got reserves, so.
And we'd only be dipping into the reserves, the 237,000.
Yes, and like I said, 99,000 of that is, it's not gonna be an ongoing cost forever.
Right. But it will be a good portion of 17, because if we
Yes.
start today, we're not gonna be in that building. It's gonna
Right.
take a while to build it.
Yes,
We're not
it'll
ready to-
definitely be part of 2017, or all of 2017
I think
budget.
it's gonna eat up all of 17, for sure.
This is 20,000 in the cemetery, I assume it's this piece of equipment for $19,000.
Are you looking at?
Raising their budget from 244 to 263, page 24.
Well, like I said, I assume it's about time for them to get some new, some more lawnmowers. Just they go through them pretty quick.
$19,000.
That's 3 lawnmowers, for 19,000.
Are you talking on capital or? Okay.
Looking at the general fund 101 cemetery, but you
What
go
page
back
are you
to
on?
page.
Yes, that $19,000 is for, I forgot how many, but it's those big zero turn radius commercial mowers. I think the one's been out there for quite a few years. And I mean, that's capital money, it can't be used for general fund purposes.
Also would like to make comment on the phone calls we got. I love to hear from the citizens and their input. One I didn't appreciate, came on the answer machine, it was just unknown, had a number, and I tried to call everybody back. And they started out by using vulgar language over the answer machine, and my grandkids are at my house all the time and heard that. So, if you wanna talk that way to me in person, that's fine. Don't do it where my grandkids gotta put up with that. And also that, Mr. Massingham, like I said, saved quite a bit of it. I know the departments turn in money, they don't spend all of their budget, so that's 237,000 will be less than that at the end of the year. A lot of suggestions that I got from citizens were, like, Ms. McVeigh said, pretty well getting close to micromanaging from the different departments, which is what, Mr. Massingham, we passed them on to him. Some suggestions, he may be able to implement, some he may not. That's up to him. We keep hearing the same things, and sure he'll do what we tell him to do. but that would be, we've got a fine line there, we've got to watch and not cross. Because we employed him to do that, and we've got to trust him to do those things.
You know, this budget's just a tool that we use to forecast the year. Just because it's in the budget doesn't mean it has to be spent. It's kind of late in the game for us not to pass the budget now. What we can do is monitor the expenses as we go and see where we're at later on in the year. And hopefully with some guidance and some meticulous looking at the expenses that happened throughout 17, we can make this budget even stronger than it is right now, maybe even better. Revenue solves a lot of problems. Maybe our revenue gets a little better next year in 17 than it is in 16. Who knows yet? Could be worse. If revenue goes down a little bit, then we really have to look at our expenses, but it's up to us to monitor how the expenses are being done throughout the course of the year. And later on, fourth quarter, if it gets tight, maybe we put a spending freeze on it, I don't know. But we use this as a tool, it's kind of like a crescent wrench. Just tighten it or loosen it as we go along. We make sure that we're just abiding by the tool that's given to us that we accept tonight and go forward.
Well said, Councilman. I appreciate Mark sitting down. I brought in some old budgets from 2010, 11, and 12, and we laid them side by side in 16 and 17. And it's not drastically different. A lot of the thing is because of the revenue. And again, it's kind of hard to judge on that. It comes in waves, so this could be the low side. There could be a windfall coming later. We do have some of that money coming in from the cell phone settlement in March. We have new businesses coming every day. And I appreciate the department heads. I know it's been a very difficult time for them to have to go down and tweak it, but if we can salvage all the employees and try to cut on the benefits or expenses and try to hold tight through 17, I really feel like we're on the bubble. It's gonna get better. It's just, we knew for years going into this, it was gonna be really tight this year. And everybody pulling together and not working against each other, I think we can come through this in victory.
No, I appreciate the council. I mean, you all took this, as you should, very serious. I either spoke on the phone or met with each and every one of you in the last 2 weeks, and I appreciate your input. And, like I said, we can always make adjustments to the budget anytime we need to.
Nothing further. Roll call, Mrs. Curry.
Councilman Tinsley,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McVeigh,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crocker.
Yes.
And Mayor Garrett.
Yes.
6 yes votes.
Thank you. Bill number 7969 passed. Nothing for a closed session. Move on to the city manager's report.
Really just one item. I know several meetings ago, the downtown Poplar Bluff board presented their strategic plan to the council. Actually, at the last meeting, it was passed to vote on. It wasn't put on this session as a voting item. We kind of feel like there really doesn't need to be an ordinance passed on this. I guess really if we could just have if you all are in support of the downtown strategic plan, just a voice vote or a consensus that you do support this plan. Anything monetary that the city does that's in this plan, we would have to come back to council either this coming year or the next year. Basically, I think they just want to make sure that the council is in favor of their strategic plan. So, you know, if you all could just kind of give me a consensus tonight so they could move forward with their plan. And like I said, I don't think it ties you any monetary cost in the plan. Those were just suggestions.
I think they put a lot of hard work and effort and thought into it, but I cannot support it as a whole. There's parts of it that I would be like, I would have to change. I appreciate everything they've done, but there's just parts of it that I can't support.
So, the main thing that people brought to me was the slogan. That I didn't see it that way, but there's some negative connotation on it, so if that's in there, it shouldn't be tied with the downtown or the city of Poplar Bluff in any way. Just, the slogan needs to be changed in some way. The rest of it, it's a lot of new people, new ideas and things to make things going, showed a lot of new interest in the downtown. And, I like, a lot of the ideas. I may not agree with all of them, but I don't agree with myself all the time either, so. But, like I said, that's some things certain things that would have to come up for a vote. As far as the plan as a whole is just being a plan, I'm in favor of it.
I'll be honest with you, I'm kinda ignorant of the plan. If we've been presented with
And Steve Hawk presented it that night.
I think you and I were out that night. That's the night that's when my brother died, and I was out during that time. And for me, as long as there's no monetary value they can just go willy-nilly with the city. They wanna work a plan that they can come up with, or they come to us for whatever monetary situation that they have before they spend it, I'm fine with that.
Well, it would have to be approved by y'all, because the monetary items in there aren't in this year's budget, or next year's budget, so.
Well, they started off with like $170,000 is what they were requesting, and that's in addition to the salary. And I just don't think we can lay off employees and support one area of town when we have.
I can't see that either. That's
And
what I'm
so,
saying.
I appreciate their hard work, it just can't happen this year, it can't happen right now. You can't, the public tells me that they don't want a dog park and then lay off a police officer, and I can appreciate that. So, people don't wanna spend money to tear down the parking garage, that solid concrete garage, when we have so many other things that money could go for. So, I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I just don't feel that we can, one thing, we weren't gonna support that for beyond the 4 years, and now we're in year 7 or 8. That we are supporting just one section of town. I mean, east side, south side, north side, all of them deserve, if, a leadership or director, if we're gonna put money toward it, if they wanna do it voluntarily like it started out prior to us getting that grant, because the way it was designed in 2009 is when the governor awarded me, when I was mayor, as the Dream Initiative, we had a $100,000 grant that was a matching grant. So that's where the $50,000 came from. We had to pay $50,000 the first year, the second year, grant paid it the third year and the fourth year, and then they should have been self-sufficient at that point. And they haven't been. And when our city is hurting in so many other ways, because as they mentioned, they have 25% more to police, we also have that many more streets and fire protection and everything. I mean, we're kind of stressed, and I just don't feel like we can commit to that plan this year or right now. Maybe in 6 months we can look at it again, but I personally just cannot. And I'm not against them, it's not personal, I just don't see how, we just have to prioritize, and I just don't see how we can do
I
that.
think what they did though, didn't they come back and say that there's no monetary fund for 17 at all?
I mean, there's nothing in the budget for the
$25,000 for the salary.
salary.
But that's not
Out of the
the
tourism.
fund that would come from,
That wouldn't be from the general fund
Right,
situation.
no,
That's
Not
tourism.
this year,
Special fund.
this year it's from the tourism.
But there's no money in there for tearing down the parking
Right.
garage or any of those
Right.
other items that were in there.
that was a
so.
big one that people cornered me on. Carrying the park.
Mayor, members of the council, I just want to speak on behalf of the board. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but just because of all the concerns, our main reason in having you approve any part of it, we understand that the slogan is an issue and we'd hate for the rest of our plan to go out because of that. The part of the salary that the city is paying is not affecting any other city employee's salary.
And I want the public to be aware of
So,
that.
and I want them to be aware of
Yeah.
that. I don't want any employee to be laid off to benefit downtown or myself. But the one thing that I would like to see passed tonight, or at least approved by you all, is the dog park. We know that the trash cans it was the $2,800 that we asked for the city. We're okay to take that expense or to leave it, for next year. We realize the things we put in there about different buildings being added to possibly be, rehabbed or, demolished, and the parking garage, and different things that were in there were all suggestions and ideas, and it's a 5-year plan, not a 2017 plan. So I hope you all realize that as well. But I'm working on a grant right now for the dog park, and in order to move further with that, for January 1st, I have to know that that land is secured for us to be able to do something with. If not, then pretty much the entire plan is on hold.
The concern of people would tell me, and I have a list of the people,
Mhm.
should you ever need to know, but they would, one of the things is that area floods, and they hated to see $50,000 put toward a dog park, and then the river rises and washes it all out.
As far as I know, and I've
That's-
talked to multiple people, that area that it's going in has never flooded.
Okay.
Which area are you planning for it to go in?
It's going over by the basketball courts, over by Wiseman Park.
For the, O'Smiley,
It's on the other side,
on the other side?
yes. I think it's like 5 to 7 acres. Dennis took me down there, last week. And so we're just looking at taking 2 acres, on the side closest to the tracks, closest to the train depot.
I'm surprised it's never been underwater. I'm just telling you what the citizens are telling me.
I've been to Farmington, and they opened theirs in August. I talked with the Parks and Rec maintenance crew there who put theirs in. I asked if they had any issues, and they said that it actually went over better than they had expected. I went on a Thursday afternoon, and there was 2 different citizens there on a Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock bringing their pets.
Well, I do get a lot of feedback from people wanting a dog park, absolutely. I mean, there's more for that than the people that didn't want it there. But, the concern was just the flooding, but if you're sure that it's never been there, they just hate to see money be put into it and then it be washed away.
And just so everyone knows, it wouldn't be the city's money, you know,
We want
it
to
would
be
be
clear on
in,
that.
yes, it would be in kind, hopefully, that different things the city could do for us, as far as maybe mowing or things along that way as maintenance. But as far as the fencing and bringing it here, it would all be part of a grant or monetary donations from the community.
But, there is a need for a dog park and there is a desire for it, I agree with that. I think the location is the main thing that most of the concern was. So, it's just hard to adopt that as a whole, but if it's something we can go back and revisit.
Yes, and everything that we would do, you know, I know that though, changing the one-way streets to two-way streets, that's something
That's
that we
another
would
huge one.
just, yes, that we would come to you for. So it's more so, and if you want, you know, like Ed said tonight, take out the slogan. We're fine with that. We can come up with something different. So if you pass it and say, we're okay with giving you this land for the dog park, but any other item listed here, please come to us for further consent. We're okay with that too. I just, as a director, have to have some direction.
We don't actually give it to you, it would just be,
Right, just, I have to have.
for your use, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
Because we can't give it to you, I don't think.
And I think it needs to be stressed that none of the money's coming from the city.
None.
Even my dog lover friends have said, you best not vote for a dog park if you're gonna cut anybody's job.
No, we're not asking for any money from the
Okay.
city minus, the 25,000 that you guys are giving. That is not coming from general revenue, so. Any other questions?
Can I just ask for clarification, Jerica? When you apply for this grant, you don't have to have evidence by virtue of an ordinance saying that we have committed to the use of the land. You just have to say that the
She
city
is-
is supportive of providing land to us for this use, is that right?
We just
And
have to
does
have
it-
land secured.
Does it have to come concurrent with the application filing itself? You have to make a statement in there that the city agrees in principle to provide the land.
Yes, so I just told her that I could, provide minutes showing that,
So if we just have by informal consensus here
Yes.
that, with the caveat that the city's not spending any GR money, which you clearly are not asking for, matching or otherwise. And of course, subject to the grant reviewers satisfying themselves that it's not going to be in a floodway.
right.
If you just had a consensus of the council who or not, then you could honestly and accurately prepare and file that grant, is that right?
That's correct.
And that's really all you're asking for, at least immediately, and then the other things will come
We
up
can come throughout the year.
piecemeal and
yes.
ad hoc as they come along.
Yes.
And with that caveat, I have no problem at all, by consensus, authorizing the use of the land, not the conveyance of the land, of course, for that purpose.
Do you have to give the address of it, or just that you have use of land? So
Just
that-
use of land.
That particular location doesn't work due to flooding or something, and we do guarantee that we will give you use of land somewhere for your park. Do you have to have the address on your application?
No, I just have to have, it requests that it's 1 acre per, size that we do, and we're looking at a small and a large and medium size. So we're looking at 2 acres, and so, I've been in contact with, a company that we're looking at doing the grant with, and all she's specified to me is that she just needs something from the city, if that be minutes or an email from Mark or council or any, something written showing that, we have secured use of land. Doesn't have to be a specific address. The further we get into the process, I will need to have, paperwork drawn out and designs and so forth.
And the application has to be by January 1, so you have it
No.
tonight?
I don't have to have it tonight. It was just, we were here this evening and this was, on last, council's agenda, so that's the only reason that we were.
Sure.
If not, I just kind of stand still, because this is our biggest project right now. I have plenty other things to do, and if you guys wanna think about it and get back to us, that's fine.
If they're only asking for us to approve that we will give them use of some of the city's land for a dog park and not that whole project in unison, I can agree. The rest of it, we have budget, we have way more things to deal with than that right now, I'm sorry. Cause she's really not asking for the entire 5-year plan, you're only asking
No.
for the dog park.
That's what we're saying, is this is our idea. The strategic plan is our 5-year idea, just like they had a 10-year idea. This is what we hope to accomplish in 5 years, and this is what we hoped we could do this year, but we understand it's a tight budget, and I've even explained that to, the lady that I'm working with on the grant, that no funds are coming from the city, this is all on us.
And this is not a revenue producing, this will just be a service.
That's correct. It's free to all citizens.
Is it something that would ever go under the park department? They're gonna have, I mean, it gets more complicated, I'm sorry, I ask
That was
questions.
my question too.
I mean, there's just too many
It's a
questions
park,
here.
why is it,
I can't just,
I don't know if Jared has talked to Mr. Allen or not about park department,
I mean, we've spoke, and I was really nice to him, but I don't know. We haven't really gotten that far, we're just in the, pre-planning stages of it, so.
I could say we could probably find, I mean, I'm thinking of some of the flood buyout land, there's probably some land that we could give use for a dog park, but then with that comes other questions, and you just hate to commit, this is serious stuff up here. You just hate to commit to something until we know all the,
I don't think she's
But I
asking
believe
for
what
it.
Yeah.
Mr. Richardson just explained.
I do
That
too.
we can consent to that.
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
I agree,
I
I
think that
agree.
there is a need, we can
The
find 2
blanket
acres
that
somewhere.
to start off with, I
If that's
think,
all she needs is
I can't
consent
do.
that we'll
Yes.
yeah.
support.
She's not
it.
asking for a specific piece of
I
land.
think there's
currently.
enough people in
I'm
Poplar
sure we can
Bluff that
find
want
2
that.
acres for it.
But that's not the way it started off in your conversation.
We made it very clear, it's not gonna cost us any money. It's gonna be all.
We're not gonna lay off a policeman or a fireman or a street worker.
I do question when you start talking in-kind mowing and maintenance and stuff like that,
And then,
that creates a
yeah,
budget.
Well, I was under the impression that the street department already mows that land, is that
That's-
correct?
That's true.
So, I
But
mean,
it's gonna change.
it would be,
it's gonna change.
But I would think there
Weeding,
would be
of
a
course.
lot of support from the animal
There
alliance
is.
club and stuff, I mean.
People
when
call.
you
We've
start
already
getting
had one
stuff done,
meeting and
it's
it was
gonna be just
huge,
like
right?
the pavilion
We have a
downtown,
lot of
it's gonna have
support for it.
volunteers and stuff that.
There is support, but they just wanna make sure we're not laying off their employees.
Right.
No worries
And I
there.
think we've made
And
that
it
very
just
clear.
gets mixed
We're not
up.
gonna-
And
Right.
downtown doesn't want to see us lose, I hope people understand that.
Right.
We're not trying to do things to better downtown, and by doing so, trying to fire employees. That's
Right.
not our intention. If we don't have the
It's just-
employees, we don't have downtown. So,
Just how it gets twisted by the time it gets 3 generations out there.
right. So we're not asking for money, we can take the slogan out, no problem. We're just asking if there was any way that we could have use of at least 2 acres.
In a slogan, I would really like to see something that says something about Poplar Bluff. I mean, besides that we haven't, I mean, you take out the word and all that, it needs to have something besides. We could come up with something better than we just have an event every month. I know that needs to be, you're trying to market that or whatever, make that clear that we have this event, but it seems like there's something with all of our history and everything, there's something we could say about Poplar Bluff's downtown besides that we have an event every month.
Well, any ideas I will gladly take. Because it's not as easy as it sounds, because I've been racking my brain over it, so. All right, thank you.
I'll agree with Phil and Ed. I've had a lot of comments about the so-called name, you know,
I had to.
and I'll agree with y'all on that. I think we can find a piece of property they can use in the city. We've got several buyout areas, you know.
That's what I was thinking of
Flooded
too,
or
that
something.
that doesn't flood.
Flood buyout, then they might flood, so.
Yep.
Some of it doesn't, but I know it's kind of, it's just.
Okay.
What do we need to do to get this?
It sounds like if
Just
you want to
asking for
boil it down
consensus.
to the specific requests that the city will make a commitment to find 2 acres of land somewhere within the city of Poplar Bluff that is appropriate without cost to the general revenue, or the general budget, then I think by consensus with a roll call vote, you can give support to the downtown development group to go forward with that grant.
Not the presentation in its entirety, just.
No,
just this part.
what I just said, I
Yeah,
think we
that-
boil it down.
Yeah.
We boil it down to the dogs,
That's right, that's right.
okay?
Just wanna make sure.
We're down to the dogs, and if you all are in agreement and consensus that the city is prepared to provide, at no cost to its budget, 2 acres of land for the development of a dog park at the expense of downtown development and or any grants that they may be able to raise, or other private funds that they may be able to raise, then that's something you can do by a simple consensus vote here tonight.
I think we need a motion, positive talks, that the consensus has already been stated. Anything else, entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's how they go. We'll get it all mixed up.
Not to his house.
And the little things, that's what, and how they get so, this is true.